In this video, we'll factor these two polynomials by grouping. Let's start from the first one. Okay, so first of all, always check if there's any GCF, greatest common factor. So it seems like there are no GCF. So since we have 4 terms, usually we'll solve a 4-term polynomial by grouping. So I will first group the first 2 terms as a group and the last 2 terms as a group and factor out the GCF for each group. So for the first group, the GCF is t squared, right? So factor that out, you will have t cubed divided by t squared, that's a t. 6t squared divided by t squared, that's a 6. All right, that's the first group. Now let's look at the second group. Let's use a different color. I will use blue here. So for the second group, the GCF, remember when we see a negative leading coefficient, we want to factor out the negative sign. I'm going to factor out that negative 2. That is the GCF for the second group. Okay, so inside the parentheses, that will be t still plus 6. Now that you can see we have 2 big terms here. First big term, second big term. And what they have in common is this t plus 6. So that will be the GCF between these 2 big terms. So I'm going to factor out the t plus 6. So now what's left inside the parentheses will be each big term divided by t plus 6. So if you divide the first big term by t plus 6, what's left is t squared. Divide the second big term by t plus 6, what's left is negative 2. Okay, so now we factored this polynomial by grouping. Now let's look at the second polynomial. We'll try to factor it by grouping. So first of all, we notice that for the terms, the coefficient for x is not in the descending order. So first I'm going to put them in the descending order. So x to the 6th first, and the second highest exponent for x is this term, negative x to the 5th, and then the next term is positive x, and the last term is negative 1. Okay, now that it is in the decreasing order, I can try to factor it by grouping. So I'll first group the 2 terms into one group and the last 2 terms into one group. So for the first group, the GCF is, it looks like between these 2 first groups. First group, the GCF is x to the 5th. Factor that out. And inside the parentheses, x to the 6th divided by x to the 5th is x. Negative x to the 5th divided by x to the 5th, negative 1. Plus x and negative 1, there's no GCF. Let's just write it down, x minus 1. Let me put it in a group using parentheses. Okay, now we can see there are 2 big groups or 2 big terms. First term is x to the 5th times x minus 1. The second big term is x minus 1. We can see it as x minus 1 times 1, or 1 times x minus 1. So see these 2 big groups, they have a common factor. Their common factor is x minus 1. So I'm going to factor out their common factor, which is x minus 1. So the first big term, factoring out x minus 1, what's left? X to the 5th. The second big term, factoring out x minus 1, that's a positive 1. So now we have factored this polynomial by grouping. And I hope you find this video helpful, and I will see you in the next video.